So everyone felt trading is much easy. I can make money every day. Sometimes they will make money, sometimes they will lose big time money. As per SEBI report, 95% of the people who are trading, the retail investors,
right,
who are trading in the F1 market, they lost money.
इंडिया का म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री एक नीच सेविंग प्रोडक्ट से इवॉल्व होके आज इतना बड़ा हो चुका है कि मिलियंस ऑफ हाउस होल्ड्स तक पहुंच चुका है। और इस जर्नी के अंदर में बहुत कम ऐसे लोग हैं जिनने इसे शेप किया है, जिनने इसे करीब से देखा है। उसमें से हमारे साथ आज एक गेस्ट है जिन्हें किसी इंट्रोडक्शन की जरूरत नहीं। अगर आपने सुना है म्यूचुअल फंड सही है, तो इन्होंने ही इसे कंसेप्चुअलाइज किया है और प्रमोट भी किया है। मिस्टर ए बाला सुब्रमण्यम, MD एंड CEO, आदित्य बिरला सन लाइफ म्यूचुअल फंड। 3 डिकेड्स से ये इंडस्ट्री में काम कर रहे हैं, जहां से इन्वेस्टमेंट डीलर की डेस्क से शुरुआत करने के बाद CEO तक का सफर, और 2 टर्म्स ऑफ एमफी चेयरमैन भी रह चुके हैं। एमफी एक वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जो म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री को डायरेक्शंस देती है, स्टैंडर्ड सेट करती है और इन्वेस्टर सेंट्रिक अप्रोच को अलाइन करती है। वो उस इंपॉर्टेंट डिस्कशंस का हिस्सा रहे हैं जहां पॉलिसीज पर डिबेट हुआ है, इन्वेस्टर प्रोटेक्शन रेगुलेशंस को शेप दिया गया है और इंडस्ट्री ने डिसाइड किया कि इंडिया के इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ उनका रिलेशनशिप कैसा होना चाहिए। वेलकम सर।
Thank you, Aniket.
Sir, you joined this organization in 1992, right? And became CEO in 2009. What's one decision from your early years you had made differently today?
So I think so I joined 95. But 92 I joined the mutual fund industry.
Okay.
In part of the public sector.
Okay.
The ASC Mutual Fund. From there I moved to Aditya Sun Life Mutual Fund.
Okay.
It was Aditya Capital then became Aditya Sun Life. Being a dealer, you are on day-to-day basis on your toes. So dealer means we have to take quick decisions. You can't wait for next day to take a decision. On the spot, few seconds is there for you to take a decision.
Okay.
So that brings you up to the speed.
Right.
So it gives you the policy. You need to be reasonably clued on to why you are buying or selling. That means you need to be always agile with knowledge and so on and so forth. And finally, it used to be always long days. So that means you need to bring that hard work. So when I look back, the transition from the entire fund management to the CEO, so all those qualities or maybe all those traits that one has to build, one should necessarily have. That actually came in handy when I became the CEO. So even today, I continue to believe that hardworking cannot be replaced.
Yeah.
And being passionate about the business. And third is whatever happens, we need to keep our head high and with a high optimism.
Okay.
So you can't put your chip down and have pessimism built into your system. So whatever happens, we must have a belief. I always have a belief, sab kuch acha ho jayega types. So when you have that belief,
right,
that belief system makes you going and makes you try and makes you innovate and makes you remain grounded coming with things.
Right.
So that's the way the whole, I'm putting it a little bit simply, but that's the way I presume the whole journey moved on.
As an MFI chairman for 2 separate terms, which policy push are you most proud of, and which one took longest to get accepted?
I think so I've been part of the industry for long. Because of that, I was fortunate to be part of various discussion forums within SEBI. I was part of MF Advisory Council from 2012 for almost about 9 years. I also happened to be part of the NISM board for about 6 years. When these responsibilities comes, is of course, sometimes we feel proud. At the same time, we also used to feel so much of responsibility. Therefore, you have to do a job which is the best interest of investors, best interest of the regulation, and don't wear your hat of where you work. You need to change your hat. When you go to the regulation, you have to wear the hat of you are working in the public interest.
Right.
So that's the way the entire learning also happened for me. But some of the decisions, I would say, I call it as a first 2012 circular. When I mean 2012 circular, it's quite known in the mutual industry which was the circular which introduced a separate set of money for investor education.
Okay.
And the 2 basis point was kept aside in that. It's
2012.
also circular where it introduced direct plan versus distribution plan and so on and so forth.
Right.
There are about 9 or 10 items were there, 12 items were there. In my view, that was a game changer. That was a game changer for the industry. Because nowhere in the past, we used to recognize going interlands of the country to promote mutual fund. We all used to stick to only the Mumbai and Delhi and big cities, Hyderabad, Bangalore and Chennai and Kolkata, and probably Nagpur would have come at the next stage. And that's why I think the whole concept of B15. Sometimes I always tell people that any textbook if you take, marketing textbook, anywhere, Lever, Hindustan, these are all good companies with great marketing skills and deep understanding of customer behavior and geographical penetration opportunities and so on and so forth. But the B15 nowhere will be there in the marketing books. So that was on I think I take pride. Second, of course, it was a tough 2009 entry load was removed. Especially personally, for me was a tough because that is exactly the day I was taking over as a CEO. The entry load was removed. That means the outlook could be bleak. The one entry load is removed, the ability to raise money would become difficult. So I moved from CIO to CEO. That was a 9 circular. Made me feel am I taking over as CEO at the right time. But given the fact that the road ahead is far superior, far ahead, what do you call, highly optimistic, then that one should not worry about the change in the regulations. And last, of course, is where I take pride with the mutual fund SAI. I mentioned about it as during my AMFI chairman. I got the opportunity to take over from Sandeep Sikka from Nippon. He was earlier the chairman.
Yes.
And then Leopuri was also chairman. So I took over from, it was started by Sandeep Sikka. Then Leopuri who took charge. Then I took over from Leopuri. That's the time the kitty also came. So working closely with industry veterans, basically who are marketing experts from a competition. And I was chairing that committee and conceptualizing something which can actually sit on top of the mutual fund subject to market risk. So that's something I never realized it can actually play such a large role, it can become a big brand. And that's something I always feel happy having played some bit of role in making that work. But there are many other stuff in SEBI. We always work on categorization of schemes. So I was deeply involved in the categorization of schemes. Today, everyone knows large cap means what do you mean by large cap, mid cap means what do you mean by mid cap. So we always used to have a struggle that the definition will vary from one to one. So if you ask 2 people same questions, the answer will be completely opposite to each other in terms of classification of schemes. So that we fixed it with the guidance coming from SEBI and also some of the committee members who are part of my committee. So we did that. So there are many such things, a number of activities I used to get involved. And given the fact that we are looking at the best interest of the investors and protection, at the same time building the business for the healthy future, bigger growth kind of things. So that's the way I will put it.
How difficult it is becoming being involved into different bodies and being the CEO of an AMC? Does it really impact your business?
So it is all it's how you view it actually, how you see it. I can argue that time spent some of these things it affects my business. The other way to do is it can also help the business in some sense. It's about how you see it. I never felt so far that working in the interest of industry, being part of AMFI and other bodies, it affects me. Even I was a CII Mutual Fund Summit chairman for 3 years. But over a period of time, I think it's ultimately you build a knowledge and you build an experience. But this should also be given back to the interest of the industry. So otherwise, the knowledge that you build or the experience that you build. See what we have, we may have great knowledge, but we have the experience of handling things at each point of time, which I call it as a crisis and opportunities, various things that we see it. But somewhere that knowledge can be passed on from a policy making point of view. So that's the way I do it. But I always believe it's a complementary and not otherwise.
You are known as a leader of leaders inside the Birla Group. What's your real test for spotting leadership potential in someone?
So of course, I was fortunate to be part of Fazibullah Group for 33 years now. And our chairman was also kind enough to acknowledge and gave the award. About 2019, he gave this award. So I think I realized over a period of time, see, bigger brand, it gives you the freedom. It gives the opportunity for one to shine, one to perform on their own. Therefore, leader is, I always feel, one of course is the bringing the passion about the business, but building and trust on people, empowering people for generating ideas, generating various initiatives that they can take, encourage them for more innovative approach to do things, and being more agile to the evolving situations, so that the business decisions can be taken faster. I think from a leader's point of view, I always tell my team as well, the platform is yours, and the boundary is defined. Within the platform, when you have the boundary, within the boundary you have to play. You must know to play to the situation. So we cannot, when things are down, that's the time I should put my hard work and bat in the front foot types. So that's the way I keep encouraging my team, that don't worry about other things. Because sometimes individuals may start debating, discussing. Many of the discussion debate that we may have, will never find an answer to that. So therefore, while we can debate for the purpose of academic purpose, but ultimately the purpose that I am driving, I think, is very clear. So that means I must pursue the purpose that I am building, whether it is for your own purpose, or it is for building the team, or building the ecosystem. How I can actually play a meaningful role as an employee of the company. So once that sets in very engagingly, then naturally it lead to a better human being, and therefore you get that respect, and therefore you're able to create success for yourself.
Move from the personal to the structural. The things you help build for the entire industry, not just one fund house. Mutual fund SIP culture is now mainstream in India. How much of the shift came from deliberately industry effort versus market timing?
So I think I would say purely I'll give the credit to the industry effort. The reason I am saying is since the time the 2012 kept aside separate money for promotion of mutual fund. One, you have to be genuine, you have to be authentic, and you have to give the right input for investors to take better decision making and understand the purpose for which you are investing for the long term. So the moment you build in all those things as part of your narrative, then keep harping on this to the investors at a continuous interval. And that's something I think industry did a great job. So I think no other industry has done such a high impact engagement program at the ground level across the country. And today, the industry has got about 6 crores or 5.5 crores or 6 crores unique customers. I think that's my view, an outcome of the way the industry has worked towards educating investor awareness, which in my view is a huge contribution has come from the industry. Timing of the market, I don't think now mutual fund doesn't do. I think, on the contrary, mutual fund now started engaging with the customers and distributors and other partners. Keep telling them, reminding them, timing the market is not important. Time in the market is more important. That's something as a cultural change, I would say. The way you think is changing. So I'm sure that's the way US has built the mutual fund industry under 401k plan for a period of time. The Indian mutual fund industry also had done similar stuff.
Since we are almost 75 lakh crores of AUM in industry, we have 6 crores of unique investors. We also tell that the mutual fund has now become a commodity, right? What future we are expecting 10 years forward from here?
See, the mutual fund industry will always remain, I think once you become size, it becomes boring. It'll be more commoditized kind of things. But at the end of the day, money is the money. Money has to be put to use effectively for a variety of purposes. And the expectation that every investor has got, not something they are asking for the moon. I think that the requirement, basically I always tell from investors' point of view, there are two important aspects they have. One is the need and second is the want. Want comes as a part of your wealth creation. The need is something as part of the regular investing. The need is actually the one common for across the country, which is a citizen. I mean, need in the sense, want to buy a house, want to buy cars and have a reasonably good lifestyle, and plan for my education and so on. So these are the basic needs everyone has. Therefore, the savings have to be converted into investment-led savings, and that will remain permanent. That will remain commoditized. But as time progresses, as the wealth effect is increasing, and more product which would actually meet the needs of the customers in the form of want, which is basically, okay, I've done enough, now I want to build further enhancement to the pie of savings that I have. So that's why I think the wealth management industry will become really very large. And organization like you, who is now looking at deeply providing investment advisory, going away from focusing only on the affluent crowd who are rich. Rich can always get big service from variety of wealth managers that exists in the country. Whereas your thought process, I think thought process is about building advisory services to the large pool of growing investors in the retail segment. And they need handholding. And they need handholding. That handholding is going to remain permanent. Though it's commoditized, that handholding remain permanent as the banking industry operates today. You need park your money, savings in a safe manner. At the same time, it puts the money, it actually works for you to create, to make the money multiplier. It could, in the early days I'm talking about 70s and 80s. The Indian government used to have, through the post office, doubling of her money in 5 years, doubling of money in 7 years, doubling of money in 8 years. It's more of doubling up. Doubling actually tells you your year's money is growing. So the money growth actually remains common for everybody, whether it is commoditized, whether it is today or tomorrow. Money has to grow. That remains. At the same time, for money to grow, I must also earn. So therefore, the whole cycle, I think, will remain as one of the key aspects as we start growing, because at the end of the day, India is becoming per capita income. It actually keeps growing, and more people would actually start looking at investment opportunities outside the banking system. This is where I think the entire industry, with the help of firms like you and other the distributing partners that exist today in the country, and mutual fund, together, I think my view will serve the purpose of to meet the need of the customers and also fulfill the want of the customers.
So what is your view on this? Basically, mutual fund is a product for retail investors also, HNI investors also. But HNIs are having a different options also. Retail investors are having mutual funds, right? What if the campaign is coming not looking mutual funds from the returns perspective, looking mutual funds from the objective perspective?
Correct.
Your objective should be clear.
Correct.
And then invested into mutual funds.
Correct.
Rather than chasing returns.
Correct.
Right? What is your view on this?
So I always tell that the purpose is important more than return. Return is an outcome. It can sometimes it can vary. And it can fluctuate from time to time. And it can always be, and I look at the comparison, somebody will always do better than you. And you will also do better than somebody else. The question is, depending on what time. Therefore, individuals have to stick to what is that objective and purpose. Once the objective and purpose is kept, they must continue to pursue their objective unless until the objective changes. Say, suppose I want to put my son in IIM, one of the IIM institutions. That's the goal. I may not get IIM, but I may get lower than IIM institutions. But the fee structure remains the same. Therefore, I must actually save for that. That doesn't change.
Exactly.
But the return is something, it's incidental. Sometimes the returns could be very large, sometimes the returns could be large. The return should not be the driver. The purpose should be the driver. Within the return, I think firms like yourself can actually suggest, which is called asset allocations, which is where to put your money. If your objective is there, then you can work backward, which in the asset class will give you the outcome that you would expect over a period of time. It's again estimate. It's about predicting what kind of return that could come, which anybody can do it. Today, that is the way I think one should build. I think the moment you do that, then mutual fund will remain as a large component. And if you deep dive within the mutual fund, the asset class which can give me the highest possible return comes equity, then comes hybrid, then comes debt, and that's the way it builds. If the affluent crowd, you are already exposed to the mutual fund, that should be 80%, because that's where I think your element of safety and the thing comes. You don't chase returns. But then comes the alternate funds, where differentiated product will come, and there you will get a better return. But that comes as all excess, I would say. That's not for a purpose, that's for purpose of generating higher return, if possible. So that's the way I think the whole evolution happened. Therefore, chasing return it's not the way to build, because most of the people make the mistake and then start comparing. Then I'm doing this. This is doing better. This is not doing better, and so on and so forth. At any point after you compare with anybody, either within the family or within the whole your own friend circle, within the whole ecosystem, you'll always see somebody who's doing better than us. That should not actually change our purpose of moving you from the goal and purpose that is set.
Despite the emphasis of investor first, conflict free advice offered by RIs, mutual fund distributors continue to far outnumber them. What factors have contributed to this imbalance
Between
RIAs and mutual fund distributors?
Yeah.
Mutual fund distributors have grown like anything.
yeah,
And where
see, mutual fund distributors. So I am also equally bullish on RIAs over a period of time. So mutual fund distribution is like oldest model. It used to be IFA, we used to call it. We used to call them agents. We used to call them IFAs. Then we used to call them MFD, mutual fund distributors. And they have been there since Uni 64 time, 1964 onwards. So the India as a country, we had many people who were actually financially literacy, so to speak, in the early days, and they were the advisor. Even post office agents used to be there. So they have been the primarily responsible for bringing in large pool of people to the country. I mean, they never would have pursued this business opportunity. They would have pursued as an add-on opportunity. They already were doing something. They would have added this as one of the additions. So as the MF industry became bigger and bigger, I think they have done the greater work of building the getting the large pool of customers at every point, every location. Today, 19,000 or 20,000 pin code. Today, my industry is getting money. I would largely contribute to the contribute would have come MFDs. RA, as the RA came in about, say, 8-9 years back, in terms of RA, maybe 10 years back, RA as a regulation came. There's an evolution, go to the next level of good things. So your wealth effect is rising, you need people that. It's like specialized lawyer, Supreme Court lawyer versus High Court lawyer, or maybe Metropolitan District Court lawyer versus the Supreme Court lawyer. So I think that's the way the segmentation comes. It's like general medicine, a physician, general physicians versus the cardiology surgeon types. So as the things, the MFDs will remain like a general physician, and they'll continue to remain. First, I'll go to them. Then, if you want to have a better consultancy, then I'll start looking at others. That's the way I think RA also will evolve. In my view, I always believe both will coexist. You'll have a large pool of MFDs also builds business as a family. The MFDs will have a maximum of, say, 500 customers, 2,000 customers, 3,000 customers. For them, they would be more or less okay with within your small stream of the radius in which you operate. And RAs would have a small pool of customers but with high wealth. So that's the way I think it will evolve. I think MINTIT model is interesting. Of course, you are thinking about how RIA can
So it is about mutual fund distribution. Now, in last 10 years, last decade, what happens with DIY platforms, बहुत सारे investors को इन लोगों ने ecosystem में लाया.
Correct.
Right? But somewhere between chasing returns and between social media influencers, these investors are lost. Right? So, how are you looking that some RIA advisory model which is coming will solve this problem for the new age investors or new investors?
So I think it's an interesting concept. I think MINTIT, the way you are looking at it, I'll tell you where from this could be extremely useful. The large pool of people who have come on the digital platform, all of them first they came into the equity market. They all opened the Demat account and started trading. So everyone felt trading is much easy. I can make money. Every day I can make, if I take home 40,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees, lakh of rupees. And mommy, papa would have given money. Saying, beta, tum kar le, 7 lakh rupees deta hun, 10 lakh rupees deta hun. You take a risk and basis, you play in the market. Sometimes they will make money, sometimes they will lose big time money. In my view, the last 1.5 years, the people who are lost when even as per SEBI report, 95% of the people who are trading, the retail investors, who are trading in the F1 market, they lost money. So the parents will always say, chalo beta, ठीक है, अभी तो loss हो गया, अभी तुम बाद में, अभी धंधा में आ जाना. काम के लिए चला जाओ, all this kind. Because I have seen many people come to me also for advice, and they would have lost money. Then suddenly he wants to come to the working environment. Once they come to the working environment, he wants to become an analyst, and everybody thinks that they can become money managers,
Right.
and everybody thinks actually making money is much easier. Now that experience, the people who had a different experience, who have lost money, is very large. Therefore, while those investors will continue to, from a broking point of view, they can of course give them a nudge, but they may not educate them as much as anybody can do, like RA can do. That's, I think there is a piece of opportunity which is there. I think the large pool of, I would say, why only youngsters? It's even the people who wants to have fun trading in the equity market and they lose money. Even wealthy people, why should they lose money? Through speculation.
Right.
So that is where I think there is a MINTIT kind of your platform where you're looking at providing advisory service to the digital users. Digital users today,
DIY users.
DIY users actually. Digital users, DIY users are today growing. Actually, in numbers in crores. But for them, any provided advice and then handling them. So how do you handle them, and how do you advise them? How to help them first protect their money, and then or maybe save, or protect their money or save, and then pursue their goal, and then make them understand importance of long-term investing and so on and so forth. And then at the same time, you also pursue the earning potential that they may have. I think if it is made to work, maybe it can actually can do a lot of wonders and service to the growing youngsters who have an aspiration to make money, at the same time not having enough understanding of capital market, mutual investing, and long-term wealth creation. That's something would be extremely helpful. This is something not many have thought about it, and I'm very glad that MINTIT is actually looking at this as a area of focus, which is, I think, in the today's digital world where awareness of digital DIY is far higher, it could potentially be, it can potentially serve large pool of growing investor needs.
Thank you, sir. Last two questions. Why one should look for Birla Mutual Fund, AMC, and out of all the peer competitors, 40, 50 AMCs, what is that something Birla is doing uniquely?
So I always take pride. Aditya Birla Group is a household name in the country, and in the business for more than say 5 or 6 decades, generations, sorry, not decades, 5 or 6 generations.
Yes.
So which essentially means they will remain for another multiple generation to come. So that's one. Secondly, trust element. It's a trust and governance. Ultimately, from a mutual fund point of view, you can't just only the return is of course important. The way they look at building in a structurally in institutionalized format for long-term interest of investors, that's something that will remain as a key commitment. And differentiation, of course, as you rightly put it in the beginning, they're all about commoditized. And the differentiation can always come only by of maybe to some extent you can't too much differentiate in mutual fund. Everybody is commoditized, all mutual funds are same, except only the trust element that we can bring, and then we'll continue to be with the customers and the distribution partners forever, irrespective of whatever the team comes and goes, and building continuous as a business to serve the growing needs of customers. I think will remain forever. So if somebody is investing their hard-earned money for long-term investing, and they should also entrust their money to the right set of highly credible mutual fund partners, and Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund is one among them.
On your suggestion, a 25-year-old investor starting their journey today asked you for one principle to build long-term wealth, what would you tell them? A new generation.
Yeah. So I think the new generations, first of all, they should focus on building their career. And whatever the income that they earn, I always suggest first few years spend their money. I mean, that's the only way you can get your understanding of how the economy functions. If you don't spend, how the economy also will grow. So I always suggest first few years enjoy, focus on work, build your career. Your serious work starts from the age of about 27, 20. That's the time you get ready to get married, and then you start building your future aspirations, or maybe the various needs of the which any individual have to build. That's the time you should start your planning for long-term investing. Don't say I want to plan for retirement. Retirement is actually something, it's a very long years to go. At the same time, don't say I want to make money investment for short term. So because most of the people, youngsters, think I'll put money and then suddenly start looking at how is it growing. Don't look at growing. It's like planting a tree. In the early days, and I'm talking about 25 years back, if you plant a coconut tree, they'll start giving you coconut only after 15, 20 years. And even the palm tree, it gives you in abundance. Palm, it gives you only after 15, 20 years. Now, of course, there are coconut trees that have come. It's hybrid. You can call it as a 5 years, 7 years, it come. But I think it's like a planting a tree. For youngsters, like a planting a tree. You planted a good tree, which is nothing but investing, and continue to make the investment, continue to nurture it. Don't move away. The fruit of that will come in abundance. I would say abundance. When I mean abundance, I cannot put number, but can give an abundance at the end of, say, 25 years or 30 years as you come closer to your retirement.
So that's all with my questions. बहुत कम ऐसा मौका मिलता है जब हम किसी ऐसे इंसान से बात करते हैं जिसने इंडस्ट्री में सिर्फ रिटर्न्स या इन्वेस्टमेंट्स की बात नहीं की है, बल्कि उसके रूल्स को सेट किया है, उसके कल्चर को सेट किया है और इंडियन इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ उसके रिलेशनशिप को एक्टिवली शेप किया है. आज की कन्वर्सेशन से मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ी लर्निंग यही है कि फाइनेंस में असली लीडरशिप सिर्फ मैनेज करने की बात नहीं है, बल्कि उसके लिए एक कल्चर सेट करने की इंपॉर्टेंस है. वही हमारे साथ में आज बाला सुब्रमण्यम सर ने अपने व्यूज शेयर किए, एंड इट इज वेरी इंसाइटफुल सर, फॉर गिविंग अस टाइम सर.
Thank you, Aniket. It was wonderful having a discussion with you.